Learning. It's most definitely a skill. Because it's a skill, it's something that we can get better at. But in order to do that, we need to understand this science and we need to take action. We made this video to help us do both of those things. After digging into the research of how to become a better learner for almost a decade, I think really the best way to explain it is to start where everybody starts, by talking about tigers. Okay, so we have two tigers. One lives in a zoo and one lives in the jungle. Obviously, these are two very different environments. The zoo, super easy. We have everything we need 24/7, food, water, shelter. Every day is the same, and we're definitely not going to struggle very much because we don't experience the things that lead to struggle, like problems, challenges, obstacles, change. Those don't happen in the zoo. In the jungle, it's a different story. First of all, it's way more difficult there because we're on our own. We have to hunt and find water and protect ourselves. Every day is different. And every single day we face new problems, challenges, obstacles, change, which means we struggle on a daily basis. So we have two very different environments. My question to you is, which tiger learns more? Well, of course the jungle tiger did. There's a huge gap between these two tigers. But that gap isn't because of their tools. Like, both tigers were tigers. They had the same tools.
Wait, who are you? I am you. I am me. No, sir, you are you. Wait.
The difference between these two tigers was really the approach to learning. That environment that involved some difficulty and struggle allowed the jungle tiger to do something that the zoo tiger could not. Now you're probably picking up on this, that this is not actually a story about tigers at all. This is a story about us. This is a story about you and me and how people grow. No matter who we are, no matter how old we are, and really no matter what we're trying to learn, the best learning happens when we operate at the edge of our abilities and a little out of our comfort zone. You could say that's sort of a truth to growth. Whether we're trying to grow a muscle or a skill, the best growth happens when we expand out of our comfort zone. I think in theory, this makes a ton of sense, especially when you compare the two tigers. But let's take a minute to dig into, well, why does this happen? If you search for comfort zones online, it gets a little noisy.
I've been out of my comfort zone for 12 years. Obviously, you don't know how this is done. And today only, I'm offering to show you how to get out of your comfort zone and be amazing like me.
I've been out of my comfort zone so long, I don't even remember what it is. You're probably in yours right now because you're weak or lazy.
Enough of that. Let's look at what the science actually says. We found some interesting studies about rabbits, monkeys, and cab drivers. This first study is straightforward, but it's important. They actually compared the brains of wild rabbits to domesticated rabbits, and they found a few big differences. The brain-to-body ratio of the wild rabbits was actually bigger, and the domesticated rabbits saw a reduction in white matter. Researchers from Yale published a study where they compared two different learning environments where they were training monkeys to learn a skill. What they found is, in a stable, predictable environment, the learning centers of those monkeys' brains actually shuts down. When the environment was more unpredictable and unstable, the learning centers lit up. What they're showing here is our environment, or the type of practice we engage in, can either help or hurt the way our brain learns. Eleanor Maguire at a City College London has done some fascinating work looking at the brains of London cab drivers. They found that cab drivers in London actually grow their hippocampus because of the action they take. A few years later, she went back searching for like the root cause of this change. And in this study, she compared the brains of cab drivers to bus drivers. They set it up in a way where each group had spent the same amount of years driving and usually the same amount of hours per day. So you could say each had like the same amount of reps. What they found was interesting. That region of the brain for the cab drivers would continue to grow and expand the more they drive. That was not true for the bus drivers. This study is compelling, and it really supports this jungle and zoo tiger comparison. When we're bus drivers, we're on a set path. We know when we're going to stop, where we're going to stop. There's really no uncertainty or change or problems to solve. It's a lot like the zoo. When we're driving the cabs, it's like the jungle. Every ride is different. It's full of uncertainty, unpredictability, and change. What this study is showing, and many others support, is it's not just about lots of reps, it's about the quality of reps as well.
What you need to do is to stress the system.
That's Anders Ericsson. If learning how to Mount Rushmore, he's on there twice.
And we are now starting to understand how that stressing on the system will activate genes that will stimulate change. And as long as you keep stimulating that system, you will see, bigger and bigger changes over time. So again, it's this idea here that if you're doing things that you already know how to do, then you're not going to change.
All of these studies and examples are really saying the same thing. We learn the best when we operate out of our comfort zone, when we spend some time in the jungle. And here's the cool part. You already know this.
If one tiger lived in a zoo and one tiger lived in a jungle, which tiger would learn more?
Jungle tiger.
If they understand the underlying message here, so do we. So I don't need to spend more time selling you on this. The more interesting and useful angle is, how come we know this, but we don't do it very much? Of course, there's a lot of reasons we might get stuck in the zoo, and some of these are out of our hands. There's other things that we can control that get in the way, like our fixed mindset stories and fear. We've actually made videos about both of those things, links below. But big picture, I think the problem here is we forget how this works, and we don't take advantage of the learning opportunities that are thrown at us every day. The best news here is we have a choice in the matter. Like tigers don't. You either live in the zoo, live in the jungle, and that doesn't change. When it comes to learning, we get to choose. Every day we're presented jungle tiger moments, problems, challenges, obstacles, change. Multiple times a day we get to choose to learn from those things or to hide from them and avoid them. To jungle tiger those challenges, or we can choose to zoo tiger. Now, I think our default is usually to gravitate towards the zoo. But let's give ourselves some credit. We've all spent some time in the jungle as well. I know that because if you're watching this video, you're really good at lots of things. And the truth is, you weren't just born with those skills, you built them and earned them through practice and struggle and experimentation by being a jungle tiger. Sometimes people get the wrong idea of what this message actually means. This has nothing to do with aggression or being bold.
Hey, man! Get a chair! Smash it on my back!
Oh, that's the right attitude. He's got the right attitude. Let's take things to the next level.
At its core, choosing to learn like a jungle tiger is anytime we choose to do the right thing, the better thing, or more uncomfortable thing over the easy, comfortable option. And that's a choice we make all the time. Asking a question is jungle tigering because it's more difficult to do that than to not. Having a tough conversation, applying for a job, trying out for a team, learning a new skill, new app, new technology. These are all examples of jungle tigering. And our argument is, when we do stuff like that, we learn more than if we don't. We are absolutely not saying you need to spend 24/7 outside of your comfort zone. Jungle tiger every challenge you face. No. The idea here is, if there's something that you care about, something that you want to get better at, we have to be willing to spend more time in the jungle. Now, to be completely honest with you, if we were making this video just a year ago, we'd be done. I'd show you the evidence and basically just say, it's way better to be a jungle tiger than a zoo tiger. You should do it more. Good luck. I think we can do better than that. I think we can be more intentional about it. Let's follow the lead of our guy, Anders Ericsson. Peak by Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole is one of the best learning books I've ever read. And in it, they talk a lot about purposeful and deliberate practice, and they show how that's sort of the gold standard of how we should practice. The hallmark of purposeful or deliberate practice is that you try to do something you cannot do, that takes you out of your comfort zone, and that you practice it over and over again, focusing on exactly how you're doing it, where you're falling short, and how you can get better. So let's be intentional and make a plan to do that. We're calling this the Jungle Tiger Challenge. There's 4 layers. First, pick a skill. Something you care about, something you want to learn. We need a specific target here. Next, find a model. This is someone we can watch and observe and learn maybe how to do the thing. 2 great sources. One is online. On YouTube, there's lots of models. But an underrated source is like the people around us. I guarantee there's someone around you who's good at the thing you want to get good at. They can be our model. Next, chase jungle tiger reps. Chase means be aggressive about doing this more, not just doing it when it's assigned. Jungle tiger reps mean that these reps stretch us out of the comfort zone. So if I wanted to become a better public speaker, it's not about just practicing in front of the mirror, it's finding ways to practice in front of others. Those reps take me out of the comfort zone. They'll be better. Feedback. Of course, we can get some information from the outside, people giving us some ideas about what we could improve on. But we can do this internally as well. We can film our practice or performance and compare that against the model. We can even objectively just reflect about our practice and performance, and that's a source of feedback. With all 4 of these layers, they're all free. We could all do them more. On the page that you downloaded, go through each 4 of these steps and actually write them down. Now, obviously, that's the easy part. The hard part is to do it. But if we write it down, it's more likely to happen. Just imagine how good we can get if we were more intentional about our learning. You have 2 weeks. Let's see what you can learn.